Hello, fellow nerds, and welcome to our nerdiest thing. Today we have a very special guest. We are live with author Swati M.H. Swati is a Texas-raised contemporary romance author living in the Bay Area with her very own book husband and two beautiful daughters. When she's not writing stories full of humor, heart, and heartbreak, she's likely thinking about doing so, preferably while holding a glass of wine. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Is a book husband also an author or like a book boyfriend, if you get my drift?
I would say he's like all of my book boyfriends who are cinnamon roll heroes. I write cinnamon roll heroes. My husband is definitely a cinnamon roll hero.
Lucky
in my
thing.
He's like the inspiration for
Yes,
all of
he
that.
absolutely is. Yes.
I
Really
love
sweet.
that. That's great. So tell us a little bit about when you knew or realized that you wanted to become an author. Was it one moment of realization? Was it kind of a lot of small things leading up to it? How did you make that decision for yourself? And then how did you make it happen?
Yeah. So the very first book I wrote was Kismet in the Sky, and it was based on sort of this random experience I had when I was 16, 17 years old on an airplane. And I decided to write the experience, not thinking I was going to publish it, but I ended up publishing it after getting some feedback from a couple of people in the industry and some ARC readers. And they were like, no, I think you should publish this. So we published it, and it garnered a lot of early success. For a new author, it had some really good feedback on it. And I gained followers and readers, and I had no idea that that's sort of how the world worked. And I had originally just gone in thinking I was just going to write one book. It was a bucket list item, no big deal. And then I was working full time at the time too. So I was like, no way, this is just a thing I'm going to do. But then because of that sort of love for the book and the story, people were asking for the second story and what's going to happen to the other character. And you can't just leave us hanging. So I wrote the next book. And I think that's when I decided, okay, I think this is what I want to do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So your first published work was based on an actual experience that you had?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it actually was. This is so silly. I kind of fell in love with this guy on an airplane who was sitting next to me at the age of 16.
That's me as a teenager in a nutshell right there.
Totally just like crushed hard. And my mom was sitting right next to me. We were on an airplane from somewhere here in California to Delhi in India. And so it was going to be this long flight. And my mom fell asleep the whole time. So I got to flirt and, talk to him the entire time. And I was sure at the end of that flight, I was going to marry him. But then of course I never, ever met him again.
Did you?
No, never saw him again. And I decided just on a whim, what if this person, in this book had met him 8 years later when she's now 24 and he becomes her boss. Yeah. And she just walks into a company, her first job, and all of a sudden it's that guy, but he doesn't remember her, but she remembers him. So how would that all work out? And so that sort of inspired the first story.
Oh, I love that.
Awesome.
That's great. I love that.
I feel like I fall in love with every person I have a crush on. And I mean, I'm happily married 20 years, right? But it's like the Leo tendencies in me where I'm like, well, yeah, I love you.
Same. And I fall in love with all the book boyfriends I read. I'm like,
me too.
100%.
I would like go to fist over some of these book boyfriends.
Right.
I really would. Yeah. Cause I'm like, surely they actually exist.
I know they have to.
Right. I'm thinking mostly Rune. Sarah J. Maas character. He's like the perfect bad boy.
Oh, I have to read that one.
Oh yeah. Crescent City.
Okay.
It's good stuff.
Ooh.
So on your website, you make a distinction and call yourself a storyteller rather than an author. I was really intrigued by that. And I would just love to hear really what is the distinction there for you? Like, why is that an important difference for you to make for yourself?
Yeah. Okay. So it originally started off with me I just felt the word author associated to me was just playing in a field that I didn't understand. There's a little bit of just feeling like I'm not good enough to be an author. I wouldn't call myself an author. But then it evolved into, I really do, I keep that there because I think I'm a storyteller because in the way I tell stories, I want to evoke experiences and emotions. And not all authors are writing books to evoke that. And for me, a storyteller, in my mind, most all romance authors, I think, are storytellers because they do evoke emotions and experiences.
I don't understand people that read that don't want that. Like my husband reads a lot of nonfiction.
Nonfiction, yeah.
He wants to learn from reading, and I'm like, I learn all day, every day.
I don't want to learn.
Escape. I want to cry. I want to throw my Kindle. I want to, I want to do all of these things. So I like that distinction.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I want to feel. Yeah,
exactly.
I don't want to learn.
I want to feel
otherwise. So
that's really important. I love that. So one of our favorite things about your books are your covers.
Same.
And cover models. They are very delightful to look at. So we just wanted to know, what is that process for choosing cover models? Do you get to be really involved with that? Because your covers are really great, and not all really great books have really great covers, right? So we would just love to hear some of that process and how much you get to be involved with that.
Thank you. So firstly, let me just start by saying I have an amazing cover designer, Cover Me Darling. Marissa at Cover Me Darling is amazing. And she has helped me tremendously. So there's that. But up until Ablaze, I was lucky to not have to purchase a cover model. I've just been able to get the people that I wanted off of stock photos. Ablaze was the first time I had actually purchased the cover model.
Oh, it works.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And I mean, even prior to that, like Ascend and Adrift, I think the idea of what they were going to look like was already in my head. So I was already looking for a specific person. Same with my other series, Feel the Beat. I was already looking for somebody who matched the hero. And it just so worked out. I found him on my on the stock sites. But with Ablaze, it was very specific because he was supposed to have longer hair, and I could not, for the life of me, find a blonde man with long hair who, fit Dean's personality. And then I saw him with the photographers on a photographer's website, and I was like, that's him. So yes, I am involved from the beginning to the end. The illustrated covers for this series was all done by Cover Me Darling. And she was
beautiful as well.
Oh my gosh, she was just so amazing, because all I told her was, I just need objects in the front. I just need, for Adrift, I need a kayak. And for Ascend, I need a airplane. And for Ablaze, I need a fire truck. And I would love to have a watercolor design. That's all I said. And she just went to work. So we just went back and forth, and I was like, yes, I love it. So
yeah, they are really beautiful. And I have to tell a story. So when I read books, or previously when I read books, and the hero or the main male character had blonde hair, like I couldn't picture somebody like sexy. Like I never could. I was like, I had like Fabio in my head or something like that. So when I got your book and I saw your cover model, like, that's the blonde hero from now on. That's what I'm going to picture.
And she literally texted us.
I did.
I found a blonde hero that I think is hot.
Isn't he just absolutely gorgeous?
Yummy.
It's just amazing. Yeah. I think a lot of people have told me that, because most, MMCs in almost all romance books are dark hair, dark eyes. And a lot of mine have been as well, but I don't know. I just decided, I think I'm going to change this guy up. Actually, both the brothers are blonde. So
it works.
You might be revolutionizing the romance world. One cover model at a time.
So tell us a little bit about your newest release, Ablaze, and that's part of the Elements of Rapture series, right?
It is.
Tell us a
It's
little
the
bit
third
about that series overall in that new book.
Yeah. So Ablaze is the third book in the Elements of Rapture series. The first one is Adrift, Ascend, and Ablaze. There's going to be a fourth one. I haven't announced the title yet, but there will be a fourth one, and that is Hudson's book. And the series is just basically based on, like I said, cinnamon roll heroes who are just, they in general fall first for their female characters. Sometimes they know it, sometimes they don't. In Ablaze, he doesn't really know it until he fights it for a while until he figures it out. With Ablaze, it's a 9-year friendship, and it's interesting because I wasn't ever going to write a 9-year friendship ever. But what happened is, in Adrift, I had introduced Dean and Mala, and Adrift had taken place like 8 years prior to that. And so I had basically shot myself in the foot and realized that they'd been friends for 9 years by the time Ablaze came out, because I'd written the epilogue in a certain way. So anyway, all of that said, the math just was not working out. So I had to make them a 9-year friendship, which I was like, how am I going to do that? How are they just going to be friends for 9 years? And what is going to happen in these 9 years? So it turned out to be a lot slower of a burn than I had originally intended it to be. But yeah, it ends up steaming up quite a bit towards the end. But
you love a slow burn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very slow. It was a really, really slow burn.
It was a very slow burn.
It worked though. That tension there, it was great. Yeah.
Yeah. Their angst and their tension is what I mean, they drove me nuts. There's times where I was like, you guys, but I had to stick with that timeline.
Yeah.
And can I ask, in this series, do you have to start with book 1 for the story to build, or are they standalones in the same universe?
They're complete standalones in the same universe, but I will say, I think everybody I've talked to who has read them in order has enjoyed Dean and Mala's story more, just because it's like this light bulb moment of, oh, of course it would be 9 years, versus somebody coming into the book, reading it and being frustrated and being like, why are they just friends for 9 years? Yeah. It just makes more sense when you read the other two for them to be friends for 9 years, because I've said it a couple times in the other books.
Okay.
I will say, as somebody who did not read the first two before I read the third one, I actually really enjoyed that. Like,
really?
I think because and I don't want to give too much away, but like the trauma and all that, like that they have to work through, that works with that sort of long-term friendship before it, because they have a lot to work through before they get there.
They had a lot of trauma, both of them. Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that.
Well, great. That's good.
Or at least I think the point came across, like you did it really, really well, so that the reader, I think it doesn't matter. So
that's good. That's really good to hear. Yeah, I intended it to be a standalone. So yeah.
So Swati, next we're going to go into our nerdy and dirty speed round, which is just a lightning round. I'm going to give you some prompts, and I just want you to answer with the first thing that pops into your head. Then we're going to go into 3 tough questions, which are mostly about your writing. And then we're going to go into 4 random questions. So are you ready for the speed round?
I guess so.
Okay. What is the last movie you watched?
Oh, I just watched it on Friday. The Notebook with my 2 girls. I have 2 teenagers, so we watched The Notebook.
Oh gosh, that movie makes me like sob.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my gosh.
Sob. Yeah.
So good.
If you could be any fictional character, who would you be?
Okay, so I really like strong female characters. I would say either Elizabeth Bennet from Pride and Prejudice, or Hermione Granger.
They have a lot of the same personalities.
Yes, very, very similar personalities. Mm-hmm.
What is a book series you always recommend?
Okay, so I am a huge mafia romance fan. I love mafia romance. So I would say either the Queens and Monsters series by J.T.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
or the Maid series by Daniel Laurie.
Okay,
Danielle.
I can't remember the title of it now, but I'm going to message you about one that I just read that's fairly new. That if you like mafia romance, I think you'll really like.
Yes,
it.
please
Dark
tell me. Yes,
academia too. So, but I can't remember
yes,
the title.
please tell me. Yeah.
What type of music does your main character listen to?
So Mala would probably listen. Well, her favorite song is "Drive" by Incubus. So probably alternative rock, grungy music.
And do you prefer plays or musicals?
Musicals.
Name a food you refuse to eat.
Two. So I don't like mushrooms and I don't like scrambled eggs.
Oh, I see.
I
I'm
don't
like,
like
put
scrambled
those
eggs.
two together.
I know.
That sounds delicious.
I can't do eggs. I'm with you on that.
Really?
I can't do eggs. I can do them in cakes and cookies and all of that, but if I can see them, it's a texture thing for me. I just can't.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll eat just about anything in a cake or a cookie, though.
Mhm.
Let's be honest.
I'll eat mushrooms in a cookie.
What if you could have any a paranormal power, if you could have any one, what would you want it to be?
Can I choose two? Can I choose two, please?
Because you asked nicely.
This is the why choose the paranormal power. Go for
We
it.
have to end the interview right now, unless you choose one.
Either talking to animals, or healing power.
Oh, yeah, that's a
Ooh,
good one.
that is
I
a
would
good
love
one.
that. What is your favorite weekend activity?
Sitting at one of the wineries nearby, with a glass of wine.
Oh, yeah. That
Can we
sounds
join you?
Yes, anytime.
great.
Anytime.
What is your favorite holiday?
Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, mine too.
What
Yeah.
is your favorite childhood book?
The Giving Tree.
You're
I
the
love
second
The Giving
person
Tree.
who said that this week. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And we never hear that answer. So, what are you currently reading, or what is the last book that you finished and loved?
Well, you won't be surprised about what I'm currently reading. I'm reading Vengeance of a Mafia Queen by Siobhan Davis. It's so good. And what did I just read? I just read The Right Move by Liz Tomford, and
yeah.
I loved it too.
Yeah, that's a great book. And finally, in the speed round, what is your guilty pleasure?
Ice cream. Ice cream.
Specific flavor or all ice cream?
Either chocolate or chocolate. Chocolate. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go into our 3 tough questions. And these are mostly about your writing. So can you tell us a scene that you edited out of one of your books, but you really wish you could have kept in?
Yes. I'm going to try not to give too much away, but with Ablaze, I was getting so irritated with them not hooking up after a certain point, even as you're writing it, because it takes months to write these books. And so sometimes you're just like, why?
You guys do it? God.
Just bang, but I did end up writing, like forcing them together way earlier than I had put in the book. And I have a group of really phenomenal alpha readers. And one of them read it, and I was telling her, I was like, what should I do? Should I keep it? She's like, it's too early. I was like, you're right. It's so early. It's too early. So we took it out.
That sounds like a good bonus chapter.
Yeah.
It's true.
So can you give us a super specific detail about one of your characters that doesn't affect the story in any way, but really makes you love them?
Yes, I will say, since it's so fresh in my mind, it's with Ablaze. It's Dean and his love for dog treats. He will eat dog treats. So the way they met is Mala is
Dean eats dog treats?
Yes, it's
Yes.
hilarious.
Okay, all right.
So Mala is a gourmet dog treat baker, but she owns a cafe that has dog treats and human treats. So dogs are allowed, and humans bring their dogs, but Dean prefers the dog treats to the human treats. And then the way they met was through that, because she was baking dog treats, and then she burned her oven down for this kitchen oven. And he comes to for a house call, and he doesn't realize they're dog treats, and he starts eating them. And he's
I
like,
was just about to
them.
ask that if it was on
Yeah.
accident, and like, these are great.
Yeah. He actually was like, these are terrible, but he just keeps eating them. And then he's just like, they're awful. And then the other part of it is they're penis shaped. And he
of course.
Right.
And he thinks that they are rockets. And so he's like, these are the most ridiculous looking rockets. And she's like, they're penises. And anyway, so it's just
it's a great scene.
I think too. Yeah. So I'm a traveling artist, Swati, and I sell these little like uterus dangly earrings, and men always think they're cows. Like cows. And I'm like, well, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem.
Oh, that is so great. Love it.
What does she think about Dean preferring her dog treats over her human treats?
I think she just finds it really funny. I mean, she even makes him boxes of dog treats just for himself because I mean, she just thinks it's silly. And at this point, and then he won't necessarily admit that he loves them, but he loves them. So
right.
Oh, it's a running joke through the whole thing. And it's so endearing. I love that.
I'm just picturing that blonde guy chowing down on like some milk, those milk chew things for dogs.
The begging strips.
Yeah. And I think the funniest part of it, and this didn't come up, like, it wasn't intentional, but it happened, is the scene just kept going by itself. And it was organic because the dog treats also have hormones in them, dog hormones for female dogs. And so he's eating them, and she's like, so there's hormones in those treats? And he's like, oh my God, I've been eating so many. Anyway, it's ridiculous. He's ridiculous. Yeah.
That's really silly and
That's
really
fun.
sweet.
Yeah.
So final question in the tough questions. What book character would you want to meet in real life, and how would you spend your day with them?
Definitely Grams. So Dean and Garrett have their grandma, and they call her Grams. And I won't tell you much about what happens to her in the books, but or with her in the books, but she's a very endearing character, and she kind of is part of both books. And she has a lot of witty and wise advice for both of them. And she's just kind of a hoot. Like, she says whatever she wants, and she's not your typical grandma. She just kind of goes along with it. Like, she knows that, Dean had a past where he was kind of crazy, and she would allow him to be crazy. And I would probably spend the entire day, like, just talking to her, baking with her. She taught him how to bake. And she spent a lot of time with Garrett too, his brother. So I really loved writing her.
That's really sweet.
Yeah, sweet.
I have a feeling that this is the next generation of all grandmothers, though. Like,
I know
the podcast talking about how we like to cuss, right? And you're thinking
you would totally.
Right. We're not going to change who we are when we get older, right?
Exactly. We're not going to stop cussing.
Right. Yeah. They're going to be like, my grandma's crazy. And
they're all going to be prudes, and we're going to be like, fuck it.
Yeah, exactly.
So now we're going to move on to 4 random questions. These are not book related. But they're just fun little, we're going to find out some fun facts.
Okay.
So what is your favorite way to relieve stress after a long day?
Definitely binging a show, or a book that I'm reading. So yeah, probably just sitting in front of the TV and just sort of consuming information versus like actually putting something together.
Do you have like a comfort show or book that you go to?
My gosh, I have so many comfort reads. Well, not so many. I have 2 or 3 comfort reads. I love Archer's Voice.
Oh, yeah.
I love Marriage for One by Ablaze. And of course, I love my Mafia series, the Maid series. So there's a few in there that I will always run to. But as far as shows, I don't know, whatever is. I do have another guilty pleasure that's with shows. It's the dating like shows for like reality shows, like Love is Blind.
I love Love is Blind. I love that show.
I love shows like that because they're just so addictive. Those are the types of shows I'll watch.
Awesome. So what scene from a book, and it could be yours or another book, inspires you on a daily basis?
Okay, then I'll just talk about the one I just talked about. Marriage for One. The two characters are named Jack and Rose. And Rose has a condition where she has like drainage in her brain. And they had a marriage of convenience. And he is this really grumpy guy, really broody, really just like, the typical like one word answer. And then he finds out that his wife has this issue in her brain. The way he takes care of her and the way he like, oh my, I could read those scenes over and over and just be like, oh, he's like my ultimate book boyfriend.
I love a good grumpy sunshine, especially when the grumpy character like kind of shows their true colors.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. All right.
So that was a very inspiring scene.
I'll have to check that book out. I hadn't heard that one.
It is so good. You will not be disappointed.
Is it Marriage of One?
Marriage for One.
For One. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a ghost or had any paranormal experiences?
Probably when I was little, but like the one I remember recently, and this is going to bum everybody out, but the one I remember recently is we had a dog pass away. And I swear for the longest time, I heard his paws on our floor and the jingle of his bell, like for days. But I know that it was in my head, but I swear I heard it.
Yeah, you never know.
I know. I know.
Okay, and so finally, the final question. This is super important. Okay, what is your zombie apocalypse plan?
I would just become a zombie. Like, how long am I gonna? I feel like fighting it is just such a losing battle at some point. Like it just seems exhausting to me. So you know what?
So just give in. Yeah,
right, win in Rome.
It's like I'm already tired with just regular, not apocalyptic life. So I'm not gonna handle it.
It just seems exhausting.
Just eat me. Come on.
Right.
If you can eat me in the fun way, that'd be great. Like I'm happy, but
and then I'll
just
we do need that zombie romance where they go down on a chick and she turns.
Oh my gosh. That would be amazing.
Right. How can we get to write this?
Yeah.
We're gonna ask.
Well, I was gonna say we're gonna be with a bunch of romance authors here in a few weeks, so we'll find.
Oh my gosh, that would be so great.
One of our panels somehow.
That would be amazing.
Too funny. Okay, so Swati, you did tell us that there's another book in your Elements of Rapture series. Is that done? Are you still working on that?
No. So the next one I'm sort of working on is a secret project with 3 other authors. And it is a rom-com series. So it's sort of different from most of my other books. I usually tend to write like angstier books. But this is more of a rom-com series that I'm writing with 3 other authors. And so that will come next. And then after that, potentially Hudson's book or another book that I might be spinning up another series for. But I will finish this series. It just may be towards the later part of next year.
Is there a timeline yet for the
rom-com?
Yeah.
Yes, in February. Early February is from mid January to early February is what we're thinking.
Not too long in the future.
Yeah, not too bad.
So we've already talked about how we're going to see you at Lust in the Low Country in just a few weeks. And do you have any other projects or events or festivals or anything like that coming up in the next year or two?
Yeah, I'm going to be going to HEA Reader Conference in Indianapolis. Are you guys going to be there?
I would love to.
Yeah, actually, we didn't realize that was so close to us because Louisville, Indy's only like an hour and 15 minutes from us.
Oh my gosh, you guys should totally come.
When is it?
Oh, November 7th. Okay. I gotta look at it. I gotta look at the dates. Yeah, I can send you the dates.
That'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. And then I am going to Readers Take Denver.
I'll be there.
Yep. Okay. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so that's next year. And then I don't know. That's about it for now.
Well, we'll have to definitely check out the HEA conference. That sounds amazing. I'm like
Yeah,
obsessed
I'm
with
looking forward to that.
conferences now.
Yeah.
I am a little worried about like the cold. I haven't really been in cold weather in November and December for a long time. So
it may not be cold.
I was
It's
gonna
not
say.
too bad.
really,
It's kind of on that line of where the weather can get kind of harsh sometimes, but especially in early November. I mean, you might need like a jacket,
It
but
shouldn't be horrible.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm with you. I'd rather move to California because when it turns, Kentucky winter is not bad, but it's gray here for like 6 months. And gosh, it puts me in such a bad mood.
I used to, when I was very little, I lived in Lexington for about a year.
So you know how it is.
Yeah.
Me and my husband joke when, when his parents are no longer with us, I'm like, we have to move somewhere near water. I'm sure as hell not moving to Texas or Florida. So it's probably going to be California. And I was raised in Las Vegas, so I like that culture.
Yeah. But I will tell you, California beaches, they're not as warm as even San Diego. I mean, there's like 2 or 3 months where it's good, but the Pacific is really cold all the time. Yeah.
It's still just so beautiful there.
It is pretty.
The West Coast is gorgeous. Okay, so where can we buy your books, and where do you prefer we buy them? Like, what's the most beneficial way to purchase books for you, like that you get the most out of it?
Amazon, but Kindle. All my books are on Kindle Unlimited. I will likely stay on Kindle Unlimited for the long-term future.
I've met so many awesome authors through that. I mean, really, even if someone has their first book in a series, it's a good way to get people hooked onto your book.
Yeah, and I think the thing is the authors have such a huge pool of readers through Kindle Unlimited. It's really hard to go anywhere else once you've sort of, seen the pool that you get. You just have so much more reach. Kindle Unlimited and Amazon. I will likely put my discrete cover books on Barnes and Noble, Ingram and Sparks, and so on and so forth. So
awesome. And where can we find you online? Like, what presence do you have as far as Instagram, I'm assuming?
Yes, I'm on Instagram for sure. I'm on Instagram, Swati.MH. But I hang out in my reader group every day. So I love my reader group. I hang out there all the time. And that's Swati Sweeties. And those that we have a lot of fun in there. And
that's on Facebook? That's on Facebook,
yeah. Okay. I hope you guys join me because it's a lot of fun.
I'm probably going to do that as soon as we
I know, me too. Okay, so our podcast is called Our Nerdiest Thing. So you can imagine we talk about nerdy things all the time. We like to talk about the fandoms we're involved in and any other kind of nerdy things that we like. Do you have any fandoms that you're a part of or nerdy things that you like really enjoy? And then we end our podcast telling our nerdiest thing of the week. And so we'd like to know what your nerdiest thing of the week was as well.
Okay. I actually really like so I am a huge fan of Game of Thrones. So I would say I'm sort of still part of, I don't know. There's a new series with the Game of Thrones that was set before the Game of Thrones, and I'm all about it. Then I really like Marvel and DC, but I love like super powered heroes. And so me and my girls were all about it. Same with my husband. So we kind of nerd out on that too. And then we talk about like, what power would you want to have and so on and so forth. So yeah, there's that. What is the nerdiest thing I did this week? It's not nerdy. Okay. It's not necessarily nerdy, but with the new book that I'm writing, it is a hockey romance.
More.
That's Mindy's genre.
That's my genre.
It's a rom-com, like I said, with a few other authors, and mine is specifically a hockey romance. And I don't know a whole lot about hockey. I know some, but not enough to write an entire romance. So what I've been doing is researching hockey, watching hockey games and understanding plays and understanding the schedule and so on and so forth. So I would say
Does
that's
not
sort of
sound like
nerding
it
out.
sucks.
So you need
Terrible,
to-
you guys.
Mindy has a whole list of hockey terms that sound like sexual innuendos, and we need to send those to
Yeah,
you.
well, I should have to send. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes, you totally should.
I will.
What's the butt end one?
Butt ending.
Butt ending.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
my.
that's my favorite one.
And there's always, split the D.
Oh,
You put it in the
Oh.
5 hole. Yeah, there's all kinds.
you have to send me. Oh my gosh.
Bunch of 12-year-old kids.
She
I
said
love-
D.
We laugh every time we watch I will text them in the middle of a game. Here's tonight's romance or hockey turn. Romance right
Oh
here.
my God.
Yeah.
That
So,
is
yeah.
awesome.
I'll have to put those together for you.
I want to be part of your texts. That's so much fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can do that. But we're going to join your readers group too,
Yeah,
because
for
it
sure.
sounds really fun.
Yes, please do.
Thank you so much for being on with us tonight. It's been really fun to meet you and get to talk to you. We're excited to see you in person and just
I am so excited to see you guys. That'll be so much fun. I can't wait.
Yeah, we're super stoked.
Yeah, we're really, really excited. I
Yeah.
can't believe it's only a few
I
weeks
can't
away.
either.
I know it's crazy. But thank you for having me. This was amazing. This is so
Thank
much
you
fun.
so
Thank
much.
you.
This has been
This is
great.
lovely.
And we'll see you soon.
All right, sounds good.
Have a great
Bye.
night.
Bye guys. Thank you, you
Bye.
too. Bye.